Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And today I have two meditations that I'm going to read, but I may only end up reading one. I'm going to start with the Linda Picone book, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations. It's a shorter meditation, but it's a really powerful meditation to me. It's a meditation that I have really worked on much of my life and have been resistant to this one lesson, which is now a lesson that I'm really trying to embrace in my life. So I want to read it to you because I would say for 40 years it's been something that I've struggled with. And I want to explain to you what I mean by that after I read the meditation. April 16th, life worth living. It's faith in something and enthusiasm for something that makes life worth living. Oliver Wendell Holmes. A cynical, aloof, done-it-all approach to life isn't sophisticated. It's actually kind of sad. Some people act as if the world were much too boring and dull for them to get excited about it. But whatever their pretensions, their attitude, in the end, makes them boring and dull. What's the fun in being with someone who can't get excited about anything, who doesn't seem to care about anything? I will allow myself to be enthusiastic about the world, whether others think it's cool or not. And, okay, here's the situation. I have, I think, the majority of my life really fought to be in the in group, even though I never was, you know? When I was growing up in elementary, junior high, high school, I was not in the in group. I was, in fact, always on the outside looking in. I never felt like I fit. I was always bullied. I was always made to be different. But I was different as well. The way that I perceived the world, the way that I looked at the world, the things that I liked, the things that I enjoyed about the world were different. And, you know, and I think the reality is, at that time, I just wasn't surrounded by people that understood who I was or got me on my level. Had I been surrounded by people that really got me, I think that, you know, my life would have been much easier. And that would have been my in crowd. I would have been surrounded by people that were my in crowd. But instead, I was constantly comparing myself to a group over here that were, you know, extremely athletic or, you know, like seemed to wear the right clothes, even though they weren't clothes that I wanted to wear, or listen to a certain kind of music, even though that wasn't the kind of music that I wanted to listen to, or participated going to parties or hanging out and doing things that I had no interest in doing whatsoever. But because the outcome for them was so much easier, I thought that was the right way instead of the wrong way. By the time that I was in high school, I rebelled against that. And I even went overboard, I think, in my being different and coloring my hair and, you know, like, always like reading far out there literature and listening to music that was really edgy and different that other people didn't listen to. Which I'm thankful for because, you know, I was surrounded by high school, by people, by close friends of mine that I think matched where I was at with that. And so I had to some degree found a group of people that I think spoke of where my soul was, if that makes sense. But it took me a long time. Throughout my life, I would say after that, I've continued to do that, you know, whether it's in sobriety or whether it's in a workplace environment. You know, I've constantly worked at fitting in instead of just being who I am and allowing people to love who I am for who I am, you know, not having to be anything different. I would say at 46 years old, I am probably at this point in my life the most comfortable in my own skin that I've ever been before. Like the interests that I have, everything about my life, right now, I'm at the point that I feel the most comfortable. But it took me 46 years to get there, you know? I mean, well, really 40 years. Let's talk about since first grade. It took me 40 years. And as I'm talking about this and telling you guys these stories, like images are flashing through my head of moments that I didn't feel like I fit in. I mean, literally as I'm telling you guys this story, it's like I'm at a locker in high school and somebody's making a joke about me. Or I'm walking through the hall and somebody's pushing me into the hallway, you know, calling me a name, you know, and not always a derogatory name about being gay, but freak or something like that, you know. And, you know, I can remember as I got older, like when I was in a work environment and, you know, I would think to myself, well, they have, you know, this kind of house or they live in this neighborhood, so there must be something right about them, whereas there's something wrong about me because I'm still in an apartment and I don't measure up to that and I don't, you know what I mean? And I never felt like I measured up to anybody else. Which is why, like, I thought it was so important when my friend told me the statement that you always lose by comparison, that I make that video, because that has been such a valuable learning experience for me. You know, that you always lose by comparison. You can't compare your life to anybody else. And I think that in life, what I've really had to learn was, it is so important for me to be my own person and to stand behind my own convictions, my own interests, and my own beliefs, no matter what. And, you know, that hasn't always been easy. I think that's why musically I'm really attracted to people that I think, like, really lived that, but at the same time struggled with that. Janis Joplin's a good example. You know, Janis Joplin and her writing and her music, you know, there was a lot of sadness. There was a lot of, like, you know, just, she didn't feel like she fit in. She always felt like she was on the outside, even when she was super, super famous. You know, she said, you know, I think it's her saying, her quote is something like, I make love to 35,000 people and then I go home all alone. She was very conflicted. She was very misunderstood. She misunderstood herself. And I think that's why sometimes, like, I'm attracted to authors and musicians that kind of, like, never really felt like they fit in, you know, even when they're at the top of their game. Because I have never really felt like I fit in. Even to this day, I don't feel like I fit in. The difference, I think, is that I don't know that I care as much as I used to, you know? As you start losing time on the clock towards the end of your life, the things that mattered to you even just 5 years ago don't matter as much anymore, you know? I dance in the streets, I blast my music, I do what I want to do, I wear what I want to wear, and I have fun with it. You know what I mean? I would like to wear some different things, but right now my weight loss journey is standing in the way of me being able to wear everything that I want to wear. You know, but there's a story about this that, like, if you watch my BookTube channel, and I've talked about this on my vlog, but I'm going to share it on here. A couple years ago when I started BookTube, so May 11th will be my 3-year anniversary on BookTube, and I was really, really excited to start it. I had watched a lot of BookTube videos for a while. I had kind of told my husband and my friend Tanya that I wanted to start it, but they were both kind of like, another idea, you know, this, whatever. And so one day, May 11th, I just decided I'm starting it. And I think, like, the night before, I, like, went in and I, like, got the channel name and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, so flash forward that July, I had heard everybody talk about this readathon. Now, a readathon is usually like 4 days or a week, and it's where, like, you have challenges and everybody tries to read as much as they can and things like that. And I was really excited about this. This is a big deal in readathon, or on BookTube. Like, a lot of people participate in readathons. And there's a really big readathon called BookTubeathon. In fact, it might be the biggest readathon on BookTube. And BookTube is just a community of people that are readers, and they talk about what books they're reading and do reviews and things like that. So anyway, I was really excited about doing BookTubeathon, and I had gone out and bought, like, special coffee and treats and all this kind of stuff, right? Now, this is 3 years ago, so I was 43 at the time. And BookTubeathon started that night at, like, midnight. And we had gone out to dinner with I think it was our friends Melissa and Jason, and I just told this story not too long ago on my vlog, but anyway, I don't remember the specifics about it, but I do remember that, like, Alex knew that I was really, really excited about this. Like, I was like, I have to be home at, like, you know, 11 o'clock because I want to, like, or 11:30 because I want to, like, sit outside and I want to start doing this right away. I want to put all my books into my Goodreads. I want to have my bookmarks out. I want to have my special coffee ready. Like, I want to be ready, you know, when it starts. Like, I want to participate in this fully. And I was so excited about it, okay? Really, really excited about it. But something happened to me at dinner, and I don't know what it was. Like, we were sitting there having dinner with them. We went out to dinner with our friends, and they were all, like, the 3 of them were going to go downtown and do something, and, like, Alex and our 2 friends, and I was thinking to myself, you're 43, and your husband is, well, I guess I would have been 44 at that point because I had just had a birthday. It doesn't matter. But anyway, you know, like, I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, your husband and your friends are going downtown and, like, participating in, like, what adults do, and you are going to do a readathon. Like, what's going on with you, right? And I started, like, playing this out in my head. Like, you're not cool. Like, you're not living up to what you should be doing at your age. There's something wrong with what you're doing. All of these messages that I had had all of my life. You're not right. You don't fit in. You're doing something wrong. It reminds me of the Indigo Girls song. When I talked about this on my vlog, I mentioned this. There's a line from an Indigo Girls song that says something like, I always do the thing that's not right, or something like that. And whenever I hear that song, I don't even know what song it is, Least Complicated. Whenever I hear that song, I always think of me. Like, I always do the thing that is like awkward or wrong or not right, and then I just feel like I'm even more embarrassed, you know? And so when this was going on, I'm sitting there at the dinner table and I'm like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm not going to do this booktubeathon. Like, this is stupid. Why am I participating in it? Blah, 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 whatever. And so Alex was like, well, tell him what you're doing. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And he goes, like, babe, you were excited about this. Tell him what you're doing. Because he was so supportive of me, you know? And so I was like, well, it's kind of like this book thing. And they were like really into it too. They were like, well, tell us about it. Like, what are you doing? Like, and I'm telling them. And as I'm telling them, I'm kind of like in my head putting it down. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is so corny. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? And so they left and I came home and I kind of just like, I wasn't even really excited about it. I like got my coffee out and I'm like putting my books on the front deck, you know, to start reading at midnight and stuff like that, because like at 11:59 is when it like gets started. Boo Radley has been like begging for attention. So you're just going to get to be helped. He says, okay. So anyway, you know, and I sat outside, I had the candles lit outside and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, just kind of going through the motions. But at that point, I just kind of was like, I'm not excited anymore. I don't know what came over me, but like maybe a minute or two literally right before it, I was like, I'm doing this. Like, I'm excited. There's nothing wrong with this. I'm doing it. And I started doing it, and there was these Twitter sprints that happened like right away. Like, they're like, the people that are like the ones that run Booktubeathon are like, okay, for the next 20 minutes, we're gonna, you know, read, and then like, describe what book you're reading with emojis. I know it sounds corny. It's not. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I'm not gonna be embarrassed of things that are fun to me anymore. Even if I'm 46 years old, it doesn't matter. I make the rules for my life. I determine what's fun and exciting. Just like Boo Radley determines that digging in a couch is a hole somehow, I determine what makes me happy in my life. And that's one small area that I have started taking some control back in my life from the ways that people took control over me when I was younger and I was bullied and things like that. So I participated fully in Booktubeathon. I had a blast. It was so much fun. I'm so glad that I did not let, like, you know, the saboteur in my head take over and just tell me that this was not something to do because it wasn't the cool thing. Because in the end, who cares if it's the cool thing? It doesn't matter. Sometimes those of us that are the least cool are the most cool of all because we are dancing to the beat of our own drum, you know? I'm so blessed that I had a mother that did what she wanted to do. You know, there were many times in life that she would struggle with it. You know, sometimes at our old house, like, she would drive down the street and she'd say, I have to turn my music down because this neighborhood and whatever. But she kind of got out of that the older that she got. And now I know why, you know? It's like the older you get, you care less. You're like, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to embody my soul, and I'm going to start dancing to the beat of my own drum. Or digging my own hole in the couch. So anyway, have you guys ever experienced that? Have you ever thought that? Like, feeling like I'm not cool, so I don't want to do this or whatever? What's interesting is, in my life, I have noticed this. When I am doing what makes me happy, whether others consider that something cool or not, it is when my life is aligned with my soul's desires, it's typically when other people are most interested in what I am doing in life. This is my life, okay? But that is typically when others are most interested in what I am doing. When my soul is aligned with, like, my soul's desires are aligned with what I am doing in my own life, with what I'm participating in, you know? Whether that's coloring, like, I have, like, so many friends of mine that love those coloring books, those adult coloring books, you know? Or whether that's reading, or whether that's painting a picture, or whether that's taking photography, or doing a photo shoot, or cooking, or whatever that is, okay? No matter how minute, or how different, or how obscure your interest is, no matter what it is, or how common it is, do what you do because it makes you happy. Do what you do because when you are doing it, it makes you feel alive. We only have but one life. This is not a dress rehearsal, and none of us should be waiting for the next act because we don't know that there might not be one. My mother passed away at 64. It's a constant reminder to me on a daily basis that I have no idea how much time I might be here, and I'm not going to waste it doing things that I don't want to do. So today, I do the things that make me the happiest. I do the things that bring me the most joy, and I think I live a pretty cool life. I love you guys, and I love Boo Radley, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.